So I wanted to get out of the studio and do a bit of a walk and talk. Look, there is so much happening in the crypto space, a lot that we need to cover off. And I think there's going to be an awful lot of money flowing into Bitcoin and crypto very, very soon. Let's dig into why. So let's start with the fact that we're hearing an awful lot of news out of Asia. Lots of talk of Bitcoin spot ETFs being launched in Hong Kong and various other, areas over in Asia. So there's a potential for approvals for spot Bitcoin ETFs over there. And bearing in mind, I've already done videos where I've talked about, the amount of Bitcoin that is actually already locked up in these Bitcoin spot ETFs over in the US, standing at around $3.1 billion. Look, this is Bitcoin that is taken off of the exchanges and not available for people to purchase anymore. And I think this is something that a lot of people haven't really considered as, a catalyst when it comes to the supply and demand of Bitcoin. There is an awful lot happening out there. And if we start to see Asia, approve spot Bitcoin ETFs, this could be an awful lot more Bitcoin being locked up, taken off the market. The demand will also increase whilst we're seeing the supply shrink. And it's shrinking an awful lot. It's shrunk massively over the last 2, 3, 4 years, right? We've seen over 1 million Bitcoin leave exchanges since 2020. So look, we're seeing a really big difference to the amount of available Bitcoin. And I think this is really important to acknowledge and really consider whether, you believe that Bitcoin is going to go on to do tremendously well into this bull market. I think if we do get approvals for the Bitcoin spot ETFs over in Hong Kong and other jurisdictions over in Asia, this is going to see an awful lot more money flow into Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. The other thing worth mentioning, I've mentioned it a few times on the channel, is that basically we're going to start to see more positive news when it comes to Bitcoin. Now, we're already starting to see this come to fruition through media outlets, but if we take ARK Invest, recently they've just said that the optimum Bitcoin allocation for a portfolio is 19.4%. This is really, really bullish. I think that that's too high, but you let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So the other thing worth highlighting would be the fact that China have decided to make some amendments to their AML, their anti-money laundering processes. Again, we are starting to see some real shifts in the approach from certain governments. And I think that this is something that a lot of people should be keeping an eye on. It's something that I think is going to be really important to, see the future moves of a big powerhouse like China and where, they see crypto heading. I think that this is a really interesting thing to be keeping an eye on. We've also got Singapore authorities highlighting the requirement for the hardware wallet, which was again another really interesting thing to be sort of focused on. And this is because there's an awful lot of hacks, as you're aware. I think that this is not something that's going to go away. It isn't something that's going to change anytime soon, but we do need to be keeping an eye on the authorities, what suggestions they're making. There are an awful lot of hacks that have been happening, but using a hardware wallet does reduce the risk, and I think that is something very important that people should be using. There's a link in the description of this video for Ledger. It's an affiliate link, go check it out. Sometimes they have some deals on, but it's definitely something that we recommend here at Cheeky Crypto, as well as the Singapore authorities. So yeah, really important that you understand that. So I've also mentioned a few times that in a nutshell, I believe that we should also be focusing on Ethereum. There is a lot of talk that there will potentially be an Ethereum spot ETF out of the US. I think if this happens and is approved by the SEC, who have recently delayed the approval, we could see an awful lot of money flow into Ethereum as well. Again, I expect that to be a sell the news event, just like we highlighted when it came to Bitcoin. What I would also add is, it's probably worth looking at exposure to layer 2 protocols, both on Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think that other altcoins also pose a really good potential for layer 2s moving forward. With all of this money flowing in to Bitcoin, I think that they're set up nicely to do really well, particularly if Ethereum does get a spot ETF. Now, look, the Fed pivot hasn't happened yet. A lot of people were talking about maybe they were going to do it yesterday. I didn't think that was going to happen. It hasn't. They've kind of just, I want to say frozen, it's probably the wrong terminology, but they are keeping them, where they are now. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, what does this mean for the prices of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrencies? Well, basically, I would expect an awful lot of volatility to continue happening in this space. Why do I say this? I kind of anticipate that we're gonna, see a Fed pivot, perhaps Q3. We've kind of said this an awful lot on the channel over many months, and I think that we're still heading that way. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the Fed's decision to kind of freeze the rates, and when you think they're going to do a pivot. Really interested to get your views and opinions in the comments below. Something else that I've recently read is that BitBoy, or Ben Armstrong, has decided to stop streaming crypto content on YouTube. So I found this rather interesting. Obviously he's breaking down in tiers and all that sort of nonsense, but why do I find it interesting? Well, I find it interesting for a few reasons. One, because I'm of the belief that Ben Armstrong has really, been on a downward spiral, a bit like, Terra Luna and, all that sort of fiasco. But look, I can't feel sorry for Ben Armstrong in any way. I kind of feel like the decisions that he's made have led to where he is today. And look, it's almost like he's just had a slap of reality hit him in the face. It costs to run a YouTube channel. He talks about 25k a week. Yeah, like it can cost that amount. I think that he just needs to reconsolidate his channel, and rather than running a complete loss, he needs to really focus on how he can make it more cost effective. And somebody with his history in the crypto space should be able to do that. But I kind of feel like he's lost his way a little bit. I say a little bit, a lot. He seems to have forgotten where he came from, all the videos he did before he got to 1 million odd subscribers with the BitBoy channel. But look, he's made so many poor decisions, and ultimately he needs to take responsibility for those. And even in the video where he's talking about stopping live streaming, I mean, he's not closing his channel, he's just stopping live streaming. There's this victim mentality that it's happening to him, rather than him actually acknowledging that these are his life decisions, and that's the reason why he's where he is. I find that fascinating. And look, you can't feel sorry for somebody that can't accept and acknowledge the mistakes they've made, in my opinion. He's done a lot of bad in the space. People seem to be quick to forget that, but he's also done a lot of good in the space as well, very entertaining and so on. So I think there's many sides to Ben Armstrong. I'm not a fan, to be honest, but look, I think that he needs to just reevaluate where he's at the moment and get back to it, like jump back on the saddle, as they say. But look, I think that these are the biggest headlines in the crypto space at the moment. Super bullish on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I didn't think that I'd be saying that like 2-3 years ago, being mainly in altcoins. But with the spot ETFs and more big institutional level funds getting involved in Bitcoin and Ethereum, you know, it's hard not to be bullish. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions in the comments below. Mash up that like button, show us some love, subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with all the latest news and headlines in the crypto space, and check out this latest video up here. Catch you in the next one.